There was something in a desert. There was some place wild and green, and a child in a village I passed through. There are places that I've traveled, and so many things I've seen, and it all fades away, but you. I was sliding down a mountain, I was burning in the sun, I was crying with amazement at the view. I was capturing a moment, but when all is said and done, well, it all fades away but you. It all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away but you. I've sailed across the oceans, past the cities and the farms, on a never-ending quest for something new. But the only thing that mattered were the 4 days in your arms, and it all fades away but you. It all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away but you. That cannot be torn apart. There is one thing that remains forever true. Past the thinking, past the breathing, past the beating of my heart, it will all fade away but you. It all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away but you. It all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away but you. That was It All Fades Away, which is Robert Kincaid's final song in the show. That's where he sums up sort of what he's learned and how he's lived at the end of his life. The interesting thing about the book is that the book is very much about Francesca, and it's very much about this struggle that she goes through. But the person who really loses, the person who loses so much is Robert, and I felt like we had to, at the end of the show, we had to talk about that, what that sense of both loss and of having understood something was. We were in the middle of doing a reading, and we didn't have the end of the show, which is sort of typical of the way that I do readings. But we were in the, and I was walking through Times Square, and for some reason, some girl was singing "Let It Be" on the street, and like on like a you know, like a little stage, and she was singing it, and there was nobody outside. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning, but there she was, and I heard "Let It Be," and I thought, there's something about the simplicity of that and the repetitiveness of it, the almost mantra-like nature of what goes on in there. And so I started to play around with how to deal with that. So I always say, if you're going to steal, steal from the good people. You know, there were a bunch of things that actually turned me on about the idea of writing the Bridges of Madison County. The first of them was that Marcia was the person who asked, and I had wanted to write something with Marcia. But what we had been talking about writing was a big romantic musical. I had been writing 13 and Honeymoon in Vegas for a very long time. And so my aim was to really write something that could soar, you know, just sort of big music, like I'd written in the last 5 years and in Parade, and I really hadn't gotten a chance to do. And I liked the title of the book. What I loved about it was all the different kinds of musics that got called in. You have Robert, who is sort of the, he's very sort of Khalil Gibran in the novel, but I wanted him to be a guy who just doesn't feel at home anyplace. You know, that's his journey is to go everywhere. So he soaks up a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But his music is very mysterious. The tonal centers are always a little bit off. He never quite lands until he connects with Francesca. And then you've got all the people of Winterset, Iowa themselves, and so you're talking about a very rural community in the mid-60s. Francesca's music, which is this woman who comes from Naples and ends up living in Iowa. And what does that sound like? What are the sounds of somebody who's got all of that? You can hear her sound right at the very beginning of the show, because it starts with the solo cello, which is... that motif, that's really what follows Francesca through the show. But then she begins sort of working her way around it, but she's never quite with it. She always sort of dances around her accompaniments. So there's a boat that leaves from Napoli every Thursday in the morning, and a nervous bride can share a bed with her soldier from the States. For a week, the ocean carries them over lost and churning water, and they land in New York Harbor, then to Pennsylvania Station, where they board a train that slices like a scythe through the fields of America. Love this chord. This is Albany, this is Buffalo, this is Cleveland, this is South Bend, this is Chicago, this is Osceola Station, where a truck can take her deeper into Iowa, to Winterset, and 300 acres waiting to be tamed. And now it's in a major key because she's arrived at her first home. So that so much of what Francesca talks about is a journey from one place to another. For her, whenever she talks about Iowa, big C major chords, we've come from minor keys and then we just land here in big major key to sort of set up. She's settled, she's fine. You know, it's this, and it takes Robert's entrance to destabilize her. You can contrast Robert you can contrast It All Fades Away, which is where he is at the end of the show when he's settled, with his musics that happened earlier in the show. The first place where he really opens up is a song called Wondering. A little twinge, a little shock, a little whisper at the bottom of your memory. A sudden wind, a gentle knock, and then a rustle in the leaves. You hold your breath, you check the lock, you reassure yourself there's nothing at the window. But you're wondering, you're wondering what that was. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. You turn a key. So the fun thing here is that now I've doubled what's happening in the left hand. Things are picking up, tempo's picking up. And that goes on through the verse. Then my favorite thing that happens in the whole song is what happens at the end. He gets all the way to the end of the song. He says, nothing's gonna happen. Nothing has to happen. And again, we've taken him from the minor key to the major key. And the song just ends there, just on a nice open fifth, because he's utterly destabilized. He's totally been thrown by this woman that he's met. I needed to figure out my way into Robert. How does the audience figure out who he is? And there's a mention, it's like 2 sentences in the novel about his ex-wife, Marion, who it says was a folk singer in the Pacific Northwest someplace. And I thought, well, there's somebody, there's something I can play with. And so I thought, folk singer in the Pacific Northwest, I've been waiting my whole life to write my Joni Mitchell songs. Put inside the picture frame some tables and a coffee pot, a uniform, a girl of 23. Sitting at a table, put a man of 37, as exotic as that girl would ever see. Have her standing over him and laughing as he's asking her a question no one thought to ask before. Color him with mystery and color her with danger, and expose them just enough to wish for more. And there was something there between us, something I could never name, something stronger, something stranger, more than quicksand, more than flame. Another life. I remember when I wrote the song, I finished it and I called Marcia and I played her the song and I said, the deal is we have to write the kind of a show that can allow for this kind of song. That there's going to be a character who we never see again who's going to sing for 5 minutes in the middle of our show, and we have to have the kind of show that makes that make sense. So much of what we did comes from the idea that these other people from the community come in and they help us tell the story, because there's only so much that Francesca and Robert themselves can tell us. I can't tell you I know what the future will be. Who knows anything? I just look in your eyes. You've got got so much to see. Let me show you there's crowds and camels and hillsides to climb. All I know is in all of the time, from man's first breath to God's last warning, you and I are just 1 second spinning by in just 1 second. You and I have just 1 second and 1,000,000 miles to go. I don't need to be rich, I don't need something new. All I've needed my whole life was a you. Please just to look at me. You were born with a wanderer's soul. This is how you begin to be whole. The stars keep burning, worlds keep turning, and you and I are just 1 second spinning by in 1 split second. You and I have just 1 second and 1,000,000 miles to go. When I watch the show, you know, I'm very detail heavy, so I tend to watch for details. And what happens that is exciting, that I really love, is that I will be sitting in the middle of details and all of a sudden see the forest for the trees. You know, there will just be these moments where I'm aware of the enormity of what is happening, what it takes for them to do these songs, the sheer amount of physical energy and technical skill that is required to do these long, these big things, and you feel it sort of envelop the whole room. The audience just takes on this whole journey. We're all on this boat together and we're all taking this ride. And I think generally I'm getting stuck on, you know, one wave in front of the other, and then sometimes it just goes like that. It's, you know, it's a rare thing to be able to do, to be able to sit in the audience of your own show and just think, wow, this is really great. When I'm gone, take me out into my cornfields, set me deep, lay me low when I've crossed over, and these fields will be my legacy when I'm gone. I will see the clouds below me, and my child and his child when I've crossed over. Let them feel the pride that I've kept inside when I'm gone. Tomorrow's stretched before me, but the yesterdays piled up from that day on. When I'm gone, I'll sing glory, hallelujah, for my done when I've crossed over. this love will be all that's left of me when I'm gone. And this love will be all that's left of me when